The most important information that you need to know about scales is conveniently found on charts like this. We see all the crucial information being displayed: the type of scale, the note names, the interval pattern or step pattern, scale degrees, and the modal names for each of those degrees. Every time you have a new type of scale, like diminished or melodic minor, harmonic minor, you will get a new chart and a new set of rules to follow. Understanding the basic music principles outlined in a diagram like this is crucial in terms of your learning arc. Don't skip over it. Learn it as deeply as you can. There is a lot of information here for such a deceptively simple chart. Now let's move on to some practical application on the guitar. In the example, you can hear me transferring the information from the chart directly to the fretboard. Once you've gotten that far, it's important to start to catalog the sound of the scale so that you can differentiate it from other types. Now let's move on to applying other scale types to this concept and come up with the natural minor, the melodic minor, and the harmonic minor scales. By altering the step pattern or interval structure of the major scale, I was able to derive the other scale types relatively easily. Once you get the pattern down, you can start the process of memorizing its sound. This is often overlooked to the great detriment of many players. Do not rely on patterns. Use them solely to get up to speed playing the scale, then start to internalize the sound so that when you hear it, you recognize it just like you would a color. Case in point, when was the last time you mistook blue for red? Obviously, we won't be very effective playing scales on one string and in a linear fashion. It's good to help you understand the scale's basic functionality, but not when it comes to actually playing it. In the example, I played the major pentatonic followed by the major scale. Then I played a diminished scale which led into the melodic minor. From there, I played the harmonic minor before ending in the natural minor. These effectively represent the most important scale families that you have to learn, and I combine them together in a way that they all work in concert. They are not to be perceived as individual elements. Combining these scale types together in one big practice session is how you make your music interesting and keep it exciting. Now let's move on to the idea of modes. As long as I keep the step pattern of the scale consistent and relative, I can start the scale on any of the 7 notes. Every time I do, I get a mode. A mode is just the scale played from a degree, but I don't actually change the core of the scale. Even though you'll see things like D Dorian and G Mixolydian, if G is Mixolydian, then you already know that you're playing in the key of C. G is the 5th note of the C major scale. And any scale built off the fifth degree of a major scale is called the Mixolydian mode. But it is still essentially the notes of C major, as I've made no changes. I've just started at a different position other than the first degree. The ultimate use of modes is to help us move freely across the entirety of the fretboard as I just did. This is where you want to be, moving at will through the scales modes. It could be on one string or it could be across many strings. You might use symmetrical patterns or irregular ones. The options are endless, but when you are practicing scales, you should be working towards making them sound as I just did there. To sum up, learn the basic music theory. Apply it to one string. Expand to playing across 6 strings in one position, what we call a mode. A lot of people like to use 3 notes per string. Learn all the other modes relative to it, and then start to combine in small pieces and move freely across the fretboard using each one of those modal positions. Finally, work on the other scale systems like the pentatonic scale, the melodic minor scale, and the harmonic minor scale to fill out the rest of the scale families. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back with triads and dominant 7, the basic theory, and then we'll be getting into some real practical exercises. We'll see you in the next one.